Welcome to the Arcane Forge. My name's Josh, and today I want to talk about role-playing. What is role-playing? Why have I made a channel about it? So role-playing, I'm not going to go into what role-playing is because you have dictionaries and the internet, but role-playing in terms of games is, let's say you're playing a computer game, and maybe the first time you played through a bit of content, or maybe just one save file before, you were playing through it as you would experience it. You know, I'm going to do exactly what I would do in this situation. But maybe you've taken a few seconds and gone, actually, I don't think my character would do that. I think the guy that I'm playing would go down that terrifying corridor, but me with common sense would probably just stay here and wait it out by the bonfire. That's role-playing. You've been role-playing the whole time. So role-playing, when it comes to tabletop and pen and paper games, which is what we mostly focus on this channel, is when you extrapolate that, when you expand on that and you become a character momentarily that you yourself have created. In terms of pen and paper games, like let's say the big granddaddy of them all, the grandfather of role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons, created in the 80s and kind of spawned everything you're probably playing now or want to play. Every little role-playing game that's out there is in some way influenced by it. Let's say you're playing that, because by and large, you're probably gonna. In that, there's one guy who's role-playing. He's kind of like the storyteller. They call him DM or Dungeon Master. He comes up with this huge world that everybody gets to play in. And then you come up with your character and you play in that story, that adventure that he's come up with. And it's loads of choices like that, thinking a little bit, is that what my character would do in this situation? Is that what this guy that I've created, what would he do in this world that someone is creating for me on a daily or weekly or monthly or yearly maybe basis, whenever you choose to meet up? Basically, you gather in a room with a bunch of your friends and you play through this story as often as you can, because just like that show on Netflix that you're watching right now and you're totally binging, you've watched way too much, it's a bit like that. When someone's coming up with a story that you are actually in, you're super invested in it, you want to see what happens next. But maybe you're a little bit nervous about the idea of role-playing. Maybe you're nervous about stepping into somebody else's shoes. It can be a bit daunting to pretend to be someone else. It can be certainly pretty daunting to do that in a room full of other people who are volunteering to do the same, but even worse if you're just doing it on the street as some sort of madman. But let's say you're playing a role-playing game and you're kind of scared to step into somebody else's shoes. It's a little bit nerve-wracking to just suddenly burst out with, welcome adventurers, welcome to the tavern, that kind of thing. You don't normally talk like that. It's weird. But it's okay, because eventually you get used to it and you know that you're in a place, you're in a room full of other people who also volunteered to do that, so it's okay. But if you're nervous, we're going to have videos on how to get slightly better at role-playing over time, to get out of your initial comfort zone and stop playing as yourself through this content and really try and invent a character that you step into the shoes of every time you play. But maybe you have questions about something totally unrelated. Maybe you have questions that I haven't answered in this video, and that's fine. Please leave questions in the little question box below, or on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. Maybe you don't have questions, but you also just want to see more from us, more role-playing stuff. Those places are also really good to find out all the stuff that I post on a daily basis. I do a lot of character drawings and lots of sketches from the worlds that I come up with as a storyteller in these games. I find loads of really interesting articles or little bits and bobs that kind of fall throughout the internet that are related to Dungeons & Dragons and role-playing games and computer games in general. So if you're on social media, look us up. If you have questions, leave them down below or on one of the many places that we're going to find them. There's no such thing as a dumb question, so don't worry about it. And we'll see you on the next video where we talk a little bit more about role-playing.